All right, guys. Well, now let's get into my power rankings. Now, these are not the top 10 teams with the best record. These are just my top 10 who I think are the best teams in the NFL, regardless of their records. But the majority of this team, all these teams will probably still make the playoffs. But I think these are the top 10 teams going into week 10. All right, and number 10 in my power rankings is the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers coming off a bye week, which they desperately needed. They are beat up on offense and defense. They don't have Ayuk. He's done for the year. Debo was questionable. Jennings was questionable. Jennings didn't play last week, but apparently he's going to play this coming week. So they need this bye week to get healthy. Now, they're number 10. Some people have them, I seen like Colin Cowherd has them as top 5. Like, do you forget the defense is not as as good as it was the last previous years? You can score now on the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think nobody's really scared of this defense anymore. Brock Purdy looks better, so it looks like they could score more points. But I think now the Niners have to score more points than they usually did in the previous years because their defense is not as dominant as it once was. So that's why I have them number 10. They still need to get healthy. CMC is practicing, which is really great. The offense ran through him last year. So if they can get him again, a full healthy version of him, they're going to be really hard to contend with. But they're still beat up. We don't know how CMC is going to come back. We don't know how healthy Jennings and Debo will be. And we don't know how healthy that defense is because the defense is beat up too. So there's too many question marks on health when it comes to the 49ers. Until they show otherwise, I think we should keep them around the 10 mark. But they could potentially go in the top 5, in a few weeks from now. So they got that potential. But for right now, I got the 49ers as my number 10 team. At number 9, I still got the Green Bay Packers, even though they lost to the Detroit Lions. They have a lot of good pieces, good offensive line, good defense. They cause turnovers. Their safety they got from the Giants, he has like 7 interceptions. They could get after the quarterback. They have good offensives. They have good weapons. In Watson, in Kraft, in Dobbs, in Reed. But their problem is their quarterback. 1, he's beat up, okay? 2, he shouldn't even started that game, by the way. Malik Willis should have started that game for the Green Bay Packers. And you know what? He actually might have had a better chance to beat him than the Lions because in that game, Jordan Love threw no touchdowns and 1 interception. So that's now back-to-back games where Jordan Love threw no touchdowns and an interception in each game. The guy is turning the ball over too much. But if they clean it up, they could be a great team. But right now, they're a good team who can't beat great teams. But like I said, they have all the pieces, all the weapons surrounding Jordan Love, but they just need to put it together. But more importantly, the Green Bay Packers need to just coach up Jordan Love and have him see the field better to stop causing turnovers because the guy's a turnover machine. But right now, I still got them in my top 10. I still think they're a good team, just not a great team. And the number 8th ranked team in my power rankings is the Steelers. The Steelers, they paid Russell Wilson in there. The offense looks good. Najee Harris now is having multiple games of over 100 rushing yards, which is really good here. I'm not a Najee Harris fan, but they needed some kind of run game help because they were one of the worst rushing teams in the league. But now it looks like a balanced offense. Russell Wilson's gained the ball to his weapons, and they still have that stellar defense, and they're getting healthy. And they made a trade for Mike Williams, the wide receiver from the Jets, previous to the Jets, with the San Diego Chargers, or the Los Angeles Chargers, whatever the hell they're called now. And Mike Williams, I think he's all right. He has an 1,000-yard season underneath his belt, but the guy cannot stay healthy. But if he can stay healthy, it's just a nice other weapon on the Steelers. You have Williams, Pickens, and now the tight end, so not a bad crew to go around for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that compared with that defense with TJ Watt and the good coaching mind that is Mike Tomlin, they can make some damage now. They could win the division. They could definitely take it from the Ravens. The Ravens, even though they made a trade in the secondary for White, they still got a terrible secondary. That's not going to change anything for the Ravens that much. So the Steelers could still win the AFC North. And I think they, they're going to give a lot of people fits in the coming weeks. So I have Pittsburgh at my number 8th ranked team. And for my 7th ranked team, I have the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings come off a good, tough win against the Colts. Colts were one of the best teams, or the best team in the NFL for covering the spread. So they beat the Colts enough where they can't cover spread. So they cover the 5 points. Besides that, the Vikings, I could see them easily in a couple weeks getting into the top 5, or I could see them getting out of the top 10 and a lot of people's power rankings, because their secondary is still terrible. You can still put up points against the Vikings. Now the Colts didn't, because the Colts are fool's gold. I've been telling people, don't trust the hype with the Colts. Joe Flacco is not going to be their savior, even though he's better than Anthony Richardson. But they have a great offense, the Minnesota Vikings, and they got TJ Hawkinson back. Getting him back is like getting a new free agent or making a trade for somebody. It's a great addition. Before he got hurt, Hawkinson was a top 5 tight end in this league. So with him and Justin Jefferson, Addison, Jones, the running back, and now TJ Hawkinson, that is a great offensive team. Sam Darnold just needs to keep together. In that Colts game, he threw 2 or 3 interceptions, and I told you guys that he would fall back down to earth. Sam Darnold, his career is not being rejuvenated, to like he's going to be a top 10 quarterback now. No, he's an average to better than average quarterback who's still going to be a placeholder for J.J. McCarthy when J.J. McCarthy is eventually caught up and healthy. So, no, Sam Darnold came down to earth. He threw 2 or 3 receptions against the Colts, but they still have a good weapon surrounding Sam Darnold, and they could get after the quarterback. So the Vikings have an identity. They have a great offense. They could pound the rock. They could throw the ball, and they could get after the quarterback. But like the Ravens, they have a shitty secondary, and you could pass on them and put up, and it'll become a shootout. So like I said, the Vikings could easily go into the top 5 teams in the NFL, or they can easily be out of the top 10 in anybody's power rankings. But right now, because they have a good offense, they got a good must win against the Colts. Right now, they're ranked 7th in my power rankings. And my 6th ranked team is the Washington Commanders. Now, the thing about the Commanders is they're a bit tricky. They have a great rookie quarterback, gonna win Rookie of the Year. Caleb Williams is falling apart. They have a good core around him. They have 2 good running backs in Eckler and Robinson. They have great weapons around him in Scary Terry, Noah Brown, and Zach Ertz. And they have a good offensive line. Their defense is their Achilles heels, but they went to go actually make a nice, good trade in getting the cornerback from the Saints, Lattimore, for a few draft picks. So it shows you they're really trying to fix their problem, which is their defense, and more particular their secondary. So they actually go make a trade. Now Lattimore's been beat up for a lot for this season, but still, that's a great trade. They're saying we're going for it. We have a good record. We could possibly make the playoffs. But I say the Commanders are tricky and a bit of fool's gold, because when you go look at the teams they defeated, ask yourself, who have the Commanders actually beat? They've beaten nobody. The Commanders haven't beaten anybody that's any good. They've beaten teams that are most likely not making the playoffs. They've beaten the Giants, the Bears, the Panthers, the Browns, the Cardinals, the Bengals, and the Giants. The best team you could say that's on that, of all the teams they defeated, is the Bengals. And the Bengals have a losing record. I don't want to hear anything about the Cardinals and Bears. Cardinals and Bears are fool's gold. They're not making the playoffs. The Cardinals are not winning the NFC West. I'm sorry. They're too inconsistent. They can't rush out the quarterback. And the Bears are always the Bears. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot, and they're going to end up being in 4th place in their division. They're not making the playoffs. So who have the Commanders beaten? The Bengals is their best argument. That's it. And that's not impressive. Okay? So that's why I say that I will not be surprised if the Commanders come down to earth and they're out of the top 10 in a lot of people's power rankings, because they have beaten nobody. They have a good team. They actually went to go make a trade for somebody to help them with their Achilles heel, their defense. So that's good. They're trying. So that's why I have them in the top 10 right now. Their record, and they have a good solid offense, and they made a trade for a good corner to help out their defense. But I can easily see this team falling out of all the top 10s because the Commanders have been nobody. They haven't been one playoff team or a really great team where you can say, wow, that was a really good win by the Commanders. No, you can't say that about any of the teams they defeated. So right now, they're ranked 6th, but I won't be surprised if the Commanders are out of everybody's top 10 rankings. And my number 5th ranked team is a little bit similar to the Commanders. That is the Buffalo Bills. The only difference is the Bills have more experience on their side than the Commanders do in their quarterbacks. Jared Allen has way more playoff experience and more success than Jayden Daniels. Obviously, he's a rookie. But just like the Commanders, ask yourself, who have the Buffalo Bills beaten? Nobody. They've beaten nobody. They defeated the Dolphins, the Seahawks, the Titans, the Jets, the Jaguars, Dolphins, and Cardinals. Not one of those teams are making the playoffs. Not one. The Cardinals are not going to the playoffs. They're not going to the NFC West. I'm sorry. It's going to be the Rams or the 49ers. The Seahawks, they're going to be 3rd or 4th place themselves. The Jets, maybe, but the Jets have a terrible record, 3-6. So who have the Buffalo Bills beaten? Not one playoff team. Now, I have them higher ranked than the Commanders because of the experience. They have Jared Allen. Jared Allen, top 3, top 5 quarterback in this league, whatever you want to say. He's a top 2 or top 3 candidate for MVP. They go trade for Amari Cooper, a really good wide receiver. They have good 2 tight ends. They have good other wide receivers in Coleman and Kazir. And they have a good running back in Cook. They get Von Miller back. He just came off his 4-game suspension. He could get after the quarterback. They have a really good secondary. But their secondary looks good because of the teams they've played. So right now, I have the Buffalo Bills ranked number 5 in my power rankings, but just like the Commanders, who have they beaten? Nobody. Until they play a real playoff team, we'll see the Buffalo Bills' true colors. They needed a game-winning field goal to beat the Miami Dolphins, a 61-yarder, just to win that game. So I'm not convinced the Bills are this world breaker. So right now, they're number 5 in my power rankings. And my 4th ranked team is a bit similar to the Commanders and Bills, and that is my Philadelphia Eagles. You say this is a homer pick, and that's why I have them in the top 5, but I see the changes they made, the adjustments they made after the bye. After the bye, they completely turned into a more of a running team, which they needed to do. Barkley is killing it. We have one of the best offensive lines. Our backups could start on other people's teams, okay? That's how good this offensive line is. We lost our left tackle for 4 to 5 games, and the backup left tackle is playing unbelievable great. We lost our backup right guard for 2 or 3 games, and we replaced him with a good rookie from Alabama. Not a rookie, a guy we drafted a year or 2 years ago, and he played right, but guard, Steen, and he plays great. Now Becton's back, okay? So we have a great offensive line. They turned more into a running team. Barkley's killing it. Did you see him last game? Making that backwards hurdle like a damn video game and jumping over that defender and go. I mean, unbelievable. That guy's a human joystick a little bit. Him and Derrick Henry are the best free agent acquisitions of the offseason that just happened. Great pickup, Barkley. Thank you, Giants. Besides that, Hurts is looking great. He has no turnovers since the bye week. In totality, he has 18 total touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, and only 2 fumbles, one of them lost. We have to start asking ourselves, is he a dark horse for MVP? He has to be a top 10 MVP candidate as we speak right now. You can even argue top 5. I think that he's a top 5 MVP candidate. The defense looks great. Vic Fangio sees that there's a problem in the slot corner in Maddox. The guy's garbage. The guy has lost a step, whatever. Probably all the injuries he's gotten over the years. And he pits in Cooper DeJean, the rookie cornerback from Iowa, and it's been a great change. He's brought so much juice to the team. He has stopped so many 4th downs. He's tackled guys, great tackling, good instincts. The kid's all over the field. He kind of looks like TJ Watt, but a skinnier version. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to be all that, but he looks great out there. Since he's been on, it's add more juice to this team. Mitchell, the other corner that we drafted out of Toledo, he looks great as well. So these guys are going to be great corners in the future. Besides all that, what I get down to when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles is the same thing about the Bills and the Commanders. Who have they really beaten? They've beaten the Jaguars, the Bengals, the Giants, the Browns, and the Saints and the Packers. The best team they beat there is the Packers. They dropped 34 on the Packers. And then the Bengals, they blew out the Bengals 37-17. Now you want to see that because the Bengals have one of the best offenses in the league, and they can score on anybody. But the Eagles kept them for only 17 points, and the Eagles hammered them for 37 points. And they should have blown out the Jaguars. That bullshit fumble brought back for a touchdown was not a fumble. I don't care what anybody says. Go look it up, people. You tell me if that's a fumble. It was not a fumble. The referees fucked up, or the referees were on the take, and they had the Jaguars plus 7.5. I don't want to get into that. Regardless, I have them ahead of the Commanders and the Bills because of talent. Who wouldn't take the Eagles' offense more than both those teams? Jalen Hurts has better numbers than Jaden Daniels. I know he's a rookie. Allen looking really great. Allen has only has like one interception, only one turnover. But Allen would love to have the wide receivers that the Eagles have. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, arguably, they're in the top 3 best wide receiver combos in the whole league. They have Dallas Goedert coming back from injury. That's another plus. The guy's been out 3 or 4 games, and the Eagles been doing nothing but winning. And we have that great offensive line and Barkley. Tell me you wouldn't take that offense over the Bills' offense and over the Commanders' offense. Any team says no to that, they're smoking. They're smoking some good shit. Anybody with a right mind would take the Eagles players and talent over those offenses. So that's why I have the Eagles over the Commanders and the Bills at rank number 4. And for my third ranked team, the Baltimore Ravens, they look really great. They have a bounce back win. They lost the Browns, but then they just blow the doors off the Denver Broncos 41-10. And the Broncos have a top 1, ranked number 1 defense. Didn't even matter. They ran all over them. They passed all over them. They just killed the Denver Broncos. And we have to start asking ourselves, is this the best running quarterback and running back duo in the history of the NFL? I mean, who rivals it? Maybe Michael Vick, and when he was with the Atlanta Falcons, or maybe Randall Cunningham back when he was playing for Philadelphia. I don't know, but it is looking unbelievable how this quarterback and running back combo just runs all over everybody. So they look great. They have the best rush defense. They go make a trade for Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver from the Panthers. Great move. Now they have Deontay Johnson, Zay Flowers, and Bateman at wide receivers. And they have Likely and Mark Andrews at tight end. Great. And they have the great Hall of Famer Derrick Henry, who's potentially still has a chance to go over 2,000 yards in this game. He went over 1,000 yards he's officially over 1,000 yards now. So the guy is killing. This offense just is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Great. So their problem is their secondary. One of the worst secondaries, or the worst secondary in the league. That's their Achilles heel. Now, they did go make a trade to the Rams to bring the quarterback White. Now, White, a few years ago, was a great corner, top 10 corner of this league when he's playing for Buffalo. This year, he's okay. He's average to better than average, so not bad, but it's better than what they got now, I'll tell you that. So they make a trade at wide receiver to score a lot more points. Having an offense that could put up 40 points every night couldn't be a defense, to be honest with you. If the Ravens could score 40 points a game, hell, that's a good defense as well. You might as well just score. They could just say to themselves, hey, we can't stop teams from scoring. We might as well score 40, 50 points ourselves, and our offense will be our defense. The Ravens can easily go to the number 2 or number ranked team in the NFL. Just got to see how those new acquisitions turn out for them, and just see their secondary has to be more consistent. But I can see the Ravens being the number 1 ranked team in the NFL in a few weeks. But right now, I have number 3. Now, the number 2 ranked team I have is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are just a bit tricky, just a little bit tricky. I worry about them because they remind me a bit of the Philadelphia Eagles of last year. The Eagles were 10-1. They were 9-0. You guys remember that? They were the number one ranked team in a lot of people's power rankings. But then they fell apart at the seams. They worry me because they have won a lot of close, tight games, or the other team could have had a chance to tie it or beat them. The Eagles last year were in all these close, tight games. Go look at the scores of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they barely won. They hanged on, or they had a game-winning touchdown or field goal to win the game. And what happened? They fell apart. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs have a better culture, the best head coach in the league, so I don't see them falling apart. But they have a banged-up quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. His ankle, you saw it, the injury got reactivated. So I can see they're winning a lot of close games. They are beating. They're still winning. Still winning. They're still undefeated. But they kind of remind me a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles. So I want to see when them play against the Bills in 2 weeks, and see how they respond to that. But right now, they're ranked number 2. It looks like him and Mahomes and Hopkins, looks like they're building a real good rapport with each other. They're only going to get better after week and week. Travis Kelce looks better than he did at the beginning of the year. They have Worthy, they have Watson, they have a lot of good weapons, a good offensive line. Mahomes, now back-to-back games, he's looking better. He's not turning the ball over, so he looks like he's progressing better. Just watch out for the ankle. The ankle's not looking too good. And they still have a really good defense, top 10 defense. So right now, ranked number 2, Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, the best head coach. He's having a great rapport with Hopkins, the new acquisition. Pacheco is going to come back in 2 or 3 weeks, their best running back, so they'll have a good dual combo running back in Hunt and Pacheco. Travis Kelce looks like he's getting his feet underneath him a little bit. So things are getting they're getting better and better for the Chiefs. But I told you guys, like they're squeaking by a lot of these games. They're winning by a touchdown or less. They've only beaten 2 or 3 teams by more than a touchdown. But the majority of their games have won by been a touchdown or less. But right now the Chiefs are still really great. Gonna win their division. Gonna be number 1, number 2 seed in the NFL. Probably number 1. So right now, number 2 ranked team. And my number 1 ranked team in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. Now, I can easily see Kansas City and the Lions and the Ravens. These top 30 teams, all interchangeable. One being number 1 ranked, number 2 ranked. I can see all that. I picked the Lions at number 1 because they are just rolling. They are rolling. They put 31 points in the Vikings. They put 52 in the Titans. You want to see that when you play against crappy teams. And they beat Lambeau. They beat Green Bay Packers in Lambeau in bad weather conditions. And Goff notoriously is not so good in bad weather, and it didn't matter. They dropped 24 on the Green Bay Packers. So their offense is better than the Kansas City Chiefs offense. It just is. The best 1-2 punch running back combo in the league, and Montgomery and Gibbs, thunder and lightning. They have a great tight end, Laporta. They have a great wide receivers in Williamson and St. Brown. They won the last 2 games without Williamson, their big deep threat, by the way. So, they're getting him back now. So, it really didn't matter that he was out. They lost. They did lose Adam Hutchinson for the potentially for the year. He could come back maybe the Super Bowl, but they went to go trade for Zadarius Smith from the Browns. Zadarius Smith has 5.5 sacks this year. Not too terrible. Those 5.5 sacks is more than double than the rest of the Detroit Lions have. So they added another pass rusher. By the way, when they lost Hutchinson, they didn't lose a game. They lost their best defender and still rolled teams. And now they added another person who could get after the quarterback. Good decision. They're telling you, hey, we're going for it this year. And it'd be really great to see the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl or the playoffs again in general, because the Lions have been a shitty-ass organization for a long time. But besides that, I have them above the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs beat the Ravens, and I have Ravens number 3. But this offense is rolling. I think you put the Chiefs right now in front of the Lions, and the Lions would roll them. They are just rolling all cylinders right now, and that's why I have them ranked number 1. Now, the Kansas City could take over number 1, or the Ravens could take over number 1, but the way this offense is looking for Detroit, how efficient Jared Goff is. Jared Goff should be in the MVP talks, top 5 MVP candidate, how efficient he is. I believe he has the best completion rating in the NFL. They won without one of their best wide receivers in Williamson because he's suspended. They're winning without their best defensive end, their best defender in the whole defense, who was arguably on his way to a potential Defensive Player of the Year award. And they're winning despite of all this. And they're just rolling, dropping 30, 50 points on teams, okay? So right now, Lions, number 1 ranked team. But like I said, the top 3 teams on this list, they could be number 1 in the next few weeks. And so, guys, those are my top 10 teams, my power rankings. Quick overview of them. Number 10, 49ers. Number 9, the Packers. Number 8, the Steelers. 7, the Vikings. Number 6, the Commanders. Number 5, the Bills. Number 4, the Eagles. The 3, the Ravens. Number 2, Kansas City. And number 1, the Detroit Lions. So, guys, that's my list. Tell me what you guys think. Who's your top 10 teams? I would love to hear it. Guys, please like and subscribe. This is a small channel. Costs you guys nothing. I love doing this. So like and subscribe will go a long way. So with that, guys, pay attention. My Fool's Gold list will be coming out tomorrow. I have a lot of surprising teams on there, but just a reminder, a lot of teams I put on my Fool's Gold list, they are now down to the dumps, like the Seattle Seahawks. I told you guys when they were 3-0, don't trust this team. They're not going to go nowhere. Now they're down to the dumps in 3rd place in their own division. So with all that, guys, like I said, I love doing this. Pay attention to my Fool's Gold list. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.